keeping deer out of your garden areas is not always very easy. As you can see, the difference between unprotected space and protected space is pretty dramatic. However, what I've just discovered this morning is that deer are getting through this unprotected gate. So as we crawl through here, you can see a lot of water wash. We gotta fix that. See, this gate here had a string across the top, and they've actually just walked through it now. So I need to get an actual gate here. It's probably gonna fold back to the wall, and we'll clean up this wall. And I know that this wire, single wire, the deer just walk under it. But this morning, there was a deer up here partaking of the tomatoes. It runs across the top here and ducks out the door here. So they can see this small wire and they can navigate under it. So what do we do about this? Well, we install some gates. I'm gonna have some swing gates that swing back towards the side of the garage there. It means I gotta clean up some space. And the gates on the back need built. Now, this fence originally kept the deer out, even though it had gaps in it. Now the deer have understood, and they can just come walk right under this wire. Now they understood that they can get in here and see all this grass. All that's got to be covered with wood chips. We've tried to, there's an erosion trench. The deer was up in here, and look at the damage it makes. It's actually starting to eat on the tomatoes. Now, a couple things about deer management is you can have these cross alleys, and the deer will use the cross alley to get through. So see that fence? They can jump a single fence if they know they have a clear path. Now this trench stops some of it, but the trench is primarily there for erosion. But the deer will actually stand in the beds. You can see the footprints where they've been standing in the beds, nibbling on plants. So this area definitely needs to be cleaned up. I'm starting to get some grass in here. Definitely need to get a couple layers, thick layers of mulch. But these gates need to be closed up. And then what we do is we retrain the deer on the fence. So again, put peanut butter on the fence. They bite the fence, they get shocked. They start getting that lesson again that the fence exists. I've got a whole program on deer management, and we're here in Martinsville, Virginia, where the deer are rampant. But deer management, as well as different garden design techniques. See, actually, I don't mind the deer nibbling on this kind of stuff. What bothers me is when they eat the tomato plants down to nubs. But we got deer management, we've got other issues. I'm actually gonna take this fence here to some taro on the other side of the property. Look how fresh this step is. That's a deer that was just here. I actually saw that deer. I scared him off with a dog. But anyway, my management is not always on time. It's not always nice and neat, but it serves the purpose because, for example, this path through here is an on-contour path that we use for water management, but it also provides a deer trail, which is, I came to check on these taro too. See, look, the deer got through here without even busting this spider web. But they'll come and nibble on everything they can get their hands on, pull the plants out of the ground, and they can easily get through here and escape. Double fence is great. You want a double fence. So you can see the deer tracks here. We're tracking a little bit, stepped on that mushroom. You want the double fence. One thing I did notice is when it ran up through here, and this is what we call, there's a bed right before the fence. So they would be unclear about their landing. The deer actually took this corner and headed straight out through the gate, which the gate is laying on the ground. It has not been installed yet, needs to be installed. Would the deer run straight through here? See, they want a line of sight? Not necessarily, because this 1-inch ribbon on the top, they don't like that. But more importantly, there's a change in elevation from the path to the bed to the fence. So they're gonna have to get a clear jump, they're gonna have to clear from this ground out 5 feet and up 4 foot. And as you can see how the plants are coppiced. Now we have a complete program on how to do this. This is a combination of forest gardening and deer and pest management. But you see how the pine tree, the lower branches are cut off? Well, for a deer to jump over this fence, they got to jump up into brush. They tend not to do that. So the deer took off down this line and out across the driveway. As soon as they hit the driveway, they about slipped. But we've also got, by the way, this trail comes here to a head. And at the head, we've got a compost pile. And that wire frame of the compost pile moves back and forth. So a deer can't be confident they got a clear shot out. And we're actually going to clear a lot of the trees outside the fence and replace them with small bushes. So what would happen is a jump across the garden bed, over a fence, and then over small bushes. Because the deer does not have a clear understanding of its landing, it will tend not to make that jump. Because remember, deers can jump high, deers can jump far, but they can't jump high and far. We also have the fence back from the retaining wall a little bit here. So we're going over a little fence design. So we got the fence, and the fence is not very strong. It's strong right now because we've got, oh, look at that twitch. Because we have wet ground. But you can see we're offset off the wall. So deer don't want to jump up here, because they'll jump up that wall no problem. They don't want to jump up the wall because they got a fence on the back end. And they don't want to jump down because they've got such a long distance. So we're using this trail to guide the deer through here. Now here's a note. You can bow hunt. Now I haven't done it. I'm not good at it. Something I'm thinking about learning. But you can bow hunt on the city property. And I've got a trail that crosses this on contour, which if I were to shoot downhill, I'm real clear about the backstop, only in a couple locations. But, you know, if a deer should come through here, if this was out in a field, the use of clear line paths serve you for both moving materials back and forth, for water management, but also it gives me a long run where a deer can walk right up into me, and I'll get a clear shot with a secure backstop. In fact, while we're talking about that, we also want to make sure our fence lines are clear, regularly walk the fence line. I'm only out here because I saw that deer racing through. There's a, leave that spider web be. There actually is a mound over here. So if I was going to take a deer on this line, I could actually, from an elevated position, probably just sitting on my roof, could have a solid backstop of soil to stop the deer coming through. But see, this post is bent because the deer has brushed its way through here and has probably been eating on these as well. That's a tea bush. We got figs over there. But the deer tend not to walk in between these rows. But as you can see by the soil erosion there, they will walk. They will go slowly. So what we're doing is we're slowing them down. We're guiding their traffic, and we're deterring them. So a deer that gets into this space is likely to stay on this wide path, and they're likely to, when deterred, to head out that path towards the road. You know, these little nooks and stuff back here, they might lay. But as the area is cleared up and cleaned up, those also will become obstacles of either raised beds or growing areas. Yeah, we have another video with some examples of different raised beds and terraces on an uneven ground. We got some logs and stuff over there that we're going to split those and make more beds. But again, it's about managing the deer through understanding the behavior, and then even having sections, see down here where they've chewed off all the young branches off of this redbud. Well, that's keeping deer out in the open where there's no need. See, deer all day can be grazing the grasses in the path, away from the growing areas. But we don't want them up in the growing areas. So you can see where deer have been standing in here chewing. The bad thing about deer is that they're not just chewing, they're ripping stuff and they're unhappy with the taste. Oh, got a tomato with a little black spot on the bottom. We don't want that. We want the deer more managed so that I can get greater harvest. We've had a real wet last couple of weeks, so we're getting some. Also, management of your plants. You're going to manage them a little differently. So anywhere that it's going to come down and touch the ground like this, we're going to throw soil up over top of that and get some new set of roots. We want as maximum number of roots possible, and we're not doing any pruning. We don't cut back suckers or anything like that because we know the deer are going to get in here and chew on them for us. So we put the deer to work. If the deer are going to be screwing around in my garden, they need to be working. We use cages, keep the fruit somewhat protected. It doesn't really protect them a whole lot. So the best thing is again to deter, to slow down, to confuse, and to manage the deer. Other means, this other means is leaving a lot of nibbles outside. So they're nibbling out down here where I can see them. Again, standing down there, a deer here, I have a good backstop. So not that I'm gonna be out here with a crossbow or or shooting deer all the time, but if I had to shoot the deer, I want to know where are safe locations where I can shoot them in an urban space. And then when they take off running, a deer shot here will likely come up the hill and head across this trail or head back this way. I'll know where they went so I can retrieve them. So folks, that's been a little bit about deer management here. If you want to get the complete series, there we talk about critter management, deer management, how to keep them out of your garden. I got several plain gardens right out in open space with vegetables growing like crazy. What kind of plants do the deer not like? How to manage your space so the deer will not do as much damage, and so that you can benefit from their labor, because the deer will work for you if you know how to get them to. But also some of the tracking and management techniques that in a prepper situation could provide bountiful food. It's nothing for this idle bed to be growing a cover crop that deer would just come in here and relax. To keep them away from more valuable plants, we have goji right here. Of course, the greens are finishing up. Funny thing is, talking about getting deer to work for you, you can take a bed. When it's done, throw some chop and drop in it and salad garden it. Deer will come in and salad garden. Meanwhile, they'll fertilize all around it. And then when you're done, you just throw another layer of you top dress it with compost, throw some straw on, and plant new plants. The deer would have come in and managed to clear out everything. Now, some of this stuff you can propagate. I could propagate some cuttings off of there. Obviously, some of this stuff's good to eat. But these old scraggly old plants, let the deer take care of it. And let them take care of it in a managed way. You're not baiting. See, actually that one is starting to put out starts. So we need to protect these again. I might get another cutting out of it. But while they're down here paying attention to this in a difficult area to navigate, they're staying away from the figs, which they don't tend to eat the bigger figs. But they're also staying away from more sensitive items that are down in another space. Thanks for watching. I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead, sharing insights and techniques that you can have a bountiful harvest from your homestead, even if you're in an urban space. Thanks for watching.